now, it's no disrespect at all, because after all, when I go to my doctor, who's been a practicing physician for 30 years, I tell him what's what with my blood test. So naturally, people, I just, as a matter of fact, over the weekend, I watched an entire box set of season 4 of Family Guy, and now I'm qualified to write animated sitcoms for Fox Television. Here's the thing. If they'd have just got their semantics straight, I wouldn't be so upset with them. On my show, The Jim Cornette Experience, I've recently hired an anger management therapist trying to make me a kinder and gentler Jim Cornette in 2016, the great Brian Last, an old friend of mine from New York. And I asked him, I said, find me something about modern wrestling that I'll like. Give me some things to watch. And he sent me a couple of things, and one of them was a match that my good friend Ric Flair's daughter Charlotte had in NXT, and I praised that very highly. I thought it was one of the better girls' matches that I've ever seen. Right up there with Gail Kim and Awesome Kong in TNA, which was probably the best girls' match in the United States I've ever seen. And then he showed me some of that Lucha Underground. And I thought it was the biggest bunch of horse shit I've ever seen in my life, because it's obviously a scripted, choreographed television show with writers. It's more writers in wrestling. That's all we need. And everybody knows that's what's caused the ruin of the business today. And I said that, and oh, my God, everybody went nuts, because somehow or another, since their cognitive abilities have been impaired by the low-class programming that they watch, apparently it's given them brain damage, they didn't understand what I was saying. They kept saying, well, this is the best sports entertainment and blah, blah, blah. Exactly. It's sports entertainment. It ain't wrestling. It's garbage, horseshit when it comes to wrestling, because it's obviously scripted. No attention is made to make it look like a sport, like a conflict, like a contest, like it's actually happening. There's no thought whatsoever put into making the people on the television program actually legitimate, like you could really believe in them, like you could believe in a Stone Cold Steve Austin, or you could believe in a Nature Boy Ric Flair, any big stars, just a bunch of guys doing a bunch of flips and a bunch of TV writers spending somebody else's money. It looks like a John Ford Western. It was shot tremendously. The production is fantastic, but it's just another case of garbage wrestling. Now, if they'd have asked me and said, is it sports entertainment, I would have said yes, exactly. That's the biggest insult that I can give anything in the world today, that I could call it sports entertainment. That's lower than calling your mother a two-bit whore on the street, if you call something sports entertainment in my mind. So, yes, it's sports entertainment. That's exactly what's wrong with it, but it ain't wrestling. And for these people who think it is wrestling, I've just been this has been called to my attention over the past few days. It's not really their fault, because so many of these kids on Twitter are so young, elsewise they wouldn't be on Twitter. They'd actually have a life, and they'd have, like a girl or something. But so many of these kids on Twitter now, it's been so long since they've seen wrestling, they don't know what it's supposed to look like anymore. So I'm trying to educate them, but there's where the disrespect comes in, because I try to educate them, and they just won't listen. So that's where the disrespect comes in. Not that it's not their fault that they don't know what they're talking about. It is their fault when they don't want to learn better.
But it's like bringing, a couple rocks to it, like a, machine gun.